I still genuinely don't think a lot of you understand your inherent value as a woman. I don't think you genuinely grasp what you're supposedly bringing to the table, apart from being beautiful, apart from being a woman. What else are you apparently supposed to be bringing to the table to have the audacity as such to actually demand this type of lifestyle, to demand this type of treatment from a man? And honestly, that's the root cause of the problem. And that's exactly what we're going to nip in the bud today. Because if you don't know how to use your feminine energy as currency, then you are constantly going to hesitate when trying to enforce and uphold these extremely high standards. Without this knowing of how to use your feminine energy as currency and what you're actually supposedly bringing to the table, of course you're going to worry constantly that your man could potentially look elsewhere. Of course you're going to worry that a man might eventually cheat on you, or a man might leave you, or you're constantly going to feel lazy or inferior, or that you're not really quite pulling your weight. In fact, you're probably going to start to think that the fact that he pays all of the mortgage or all of the rent is good enough for you. Or you will probably start to think that, no, he pays for every single holiday and that is good enough for me. Or maybe he's very timely when it comes to responding to texts and FaceTiming you. And you know what? You've decided that that's good enough for you. That isn't using your feminine energy as currency. That's actually called settling. So if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, you're loyal, you're kind, you're generous, you're beautiful, you take care of yourself, you're giving, you're supportive, and yet men still seem to take you for granted. You still constantly find yourself brought to your knees begging this man for the bare minimum, whether it be in dating, whether it be in your marriage, whether it be in your long-term relationship. You need to understand how to use your feminine energy as currency. So if you are taking this next chapter in your life seriously and you want to attract the best quality man, you want to attract the best version of your current partner, you want your marriage to thrive, and you want to be treated correctly and not constantly living with this anxiety that potentially maybe one day he might pack up and leave. Stick around and make sure you lock in for the whole episode, because this one is a good one and it's all coming up right now. Hi, welcome back to The Vibration Vault. My name is Alia Zaray. I help women all over the world navigate their love life in a more feminine way. So if that sounds like something that you want to do, make sure to subscribe to stick around. Okay, let's begin. First things first is you have to understand the silent harvest. Now, I can positively assume that you are probably a woman who is not working in the sex industry. However, we have to touch on this for this to be explained, this whole concept to make sense to you. The reason for this is because men have been harvesting your feminine energy for centuries, right under your nose, and you have had no idea about it. So let me ask you this question. Have you ever wondered why it is women that dominate the sex industry? Why is it that men in the same industry can't even seem to scrape by in the industry? Now, I know what you're thinking. Women are beautiful, but it's actually got nothing to do with looks, and it's got everything to do with energy. In fact, it has everything to do with feminine energy. So it's no secret that men pay for sex, but women, we don't have the same sort of need. We don't have the same sort of industry. We don't have the industry where we pay men to strip. We don't have the industry where we will pay men thousands of pounds to whisper sweet nothings in our ear. We don't have an industry where we will pay a man to message us, "Good morning, beautiful," for a fee. But if you compare statistics on consumerism, it's women that make up most of those statistics on who's contributing to consumerism. We are more inclined to buy. And if you think about it, as women, we pay for things that make us feel good. I pay for massages all the time. I pay to get my hair done. I pay for skin treatments. I pay for things that make me feel good. And contrary to popular belief, women enjoy sex as well. So why is it that women don't pay for sex. And the reason is that there is no demand. There is no demand for a man selling intimacy to a woman because women don't need to buy what we already possess in abundance. What I'm trying to say is if men were truly paying for sex, then women would pay for sex as well. So if men are buying something, then you have to question, what is it that they're actually purchasing? They're not just spending their money, they are spending their money in exchange for feminine energy. Okay, now that I am completely confident that you grasp that concept, this is the truth about feminine energy that's going to change everything. So think about a man. A man needs two things to survive. He needs food and he needs water. But to become successful beyond his wildest dreams, he also needs feminine energy. Feminine energy is creative energy. It doesn't just create life, it creates paths to wealth, abundance, and even power. A man's currency in this world is his success, and feminine energy is the fuel that actually builds that. It's also why the most successful man in this world will say everything that I have built is because of the woman I have beside me. They will say things like, all it takes is one good woman to believe in you and you can achieve the world. They instinctively know what a lot of women don't, and that is that a woman's feminine energy is priceless. So how does this actually affect you in dating and relationships and marriages and in your life? Like I mentioned earlier, men have been harvesting your feminine energy for centuries. The evidence? It's everywhere. Let me give you an example. A man could sleep with 1,000 women and he would be branded a hero, a legend, a leader. A woman who does the same thing, go out and sleep with 1,000 men, no, she is used goods. Why? Because men secretly know that women are the ones that hold the energy source that actually fuels wealth and fuels power. A woman who has given all of her energy away isn't seen as resourceful. She's not seen as powerful as other women who have not given themselves away to so many different men, because men deplete a woman's energy source, and every single other man is aware of this. He knows this. Meanwhile, the man, on the other hand, who had slept with 1,000 women, he is a hero and a legend because now he has a fully fed, fully thriving ego. And other men and women are looking at him thinking, yes, this man can now go on to achieve everything because he has this full resource and reservoir of feminine energy that he has just collected from all of these women. This isn't just about dating, it's about understanding how feminine energy shapes and influences every single part of your life. I mean, take a look around. Society has turned your energy into an industry. Let's take the sex industry, for example. It's built on men trying to buy what women naturally have. The beauty industry that profits off women buying into it and investing into themselves. Or look at the pick me culture. It's designed to convince women to compete with other women for male validation. Look at the dating market. Look at these apps online that have women all over the world lowering their standards, and then men are taught to raise theirs. Even in relationships, women are so used to giving and men are now conditioned to receive. Think about it. Who's more likely to emotionally invest? You. Who's expected to be understanding and patient and calm and comforting whilst a man just figures things out? You. Who walks away from situationships drained whilst the other one walks around happy and unbothered? You guessed it. That's you. So, in a world full of easy women, how do you ensure that he's constantly choosing you? If there's so many options and there's women that are so available and he can feed his energy source from anyone, how does that put you in a good advantage? Let me give you an example. Just like a man could sleep with 1,000 women, the equivalent of that would be him eating, 1,000 meals at McDonald's. Inevitably, in the long term, it's going to make him feel really stodgy. It's going to make him feel sick. He's going to start gaining a few pounds. He's going to start losing his true self-confidence, his true masculinity as a man. Over a period of time, time, he's going to start to realize it's not very good for his health, it's not very good for his mental health, and it doesn't actually make him feel very good at all in the long run. So I think anyone would agree that instead of having 1,000 McDonald's meals, you would much rather have a gourmet, well-cooked, beautiful steak cooked to perfection. That's going to feel nourishing to him. That's going to feel like it supercharged him once he's had his daily dose of that meal. A high-value woman like yourself is that gourmet meal, the one that makes a man feel stronger, feel validated, feel disciplined. So instead of trying to convince a man to see your worth, you need to become the woman that he can't afford to lose. Because I'm going to let you in on something. Men already know the value of women. That's why the oldest profession in the book is women working in the sex industry. So how do you use your feminine energy as a currency when you're dating or in a relationship? That's my favorite question. One of my favorite things is to use feminine language. This works every single time. The thing is, men crave to be seen as their highest potential, even if they've not fully unlocked their highest potential yet. And you can actually shape how a man sees you and how he treats you, how he views you, and how he shows up for you, all with just choosing the right words. Let me give you an example. Instead of asking him what type of man he is, you would say, you know what, baby? I can just tell that you are the type of man who just doesn't allow everybody access to you. You're the type of man that really values his self-respect. You wouldn't let just anybody have access to you. I love that about you. It's such a masculine trait. Is that something that you learned from your father? Then let him talk. Even if he doesn't fully embody this yet, your words alone have just planted the seed in his head. The key here is to make positive assumptions about him. Naturally, he's going to start to look for evidence in his childhood or in his life that corroborate your assumption, because that's a positive assumption to make about someone. And they are naturally going to want to subconsciously live up to that assumption that you've made about them. And then in turn, they're going to feel more attracted to you. He will feel more attracted to you because now you're the one who sees him as the highest version of himself, and he starts to subconsciously become the highest version of himself, and he's done that all with you by his side. So now this new version of him that is emerging doesn't actually exist without you. So it creates this sort of dependence on you that no, I need her by my side, because with her, I am the best version of myself. And I genuinely believe that's where the phrase, my better half, comes from. My light just died. Don't know where the charger is, so we're just going to continue. Another way that you can use your feminine energy as a currency is stop giving things away for free. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're messaging a guy on a dating app and everything's going really well. He's so funny, he's so handsome, he's so prompt with his responses, he's FaceTiming you, and in your mind, you're thinking, well, yeah, he's making an investment into me because he's FaceTiming me every night, he's texting me, he's there for me, he's funny, he's engaging. You kind of overlook the fact that there's no real talk about planning a date, there's no date mentioned, there's nothing in the diary for you and him to hang out together, but you're really enjoying yourself. And you believe the fact that he's responding to you and FaceTiming you is the version of him making an investment into you. You see, I'm sorry to burst your bubble here, but that's not him making an investment into you. That's actually you making an investment into him. What you're actually doing here is charging his ego with your feminine energy. Think about it. What are you actually going to get out of this interaction? If he doesn't end up planning a date, you're going to leave that interaction feeling depleted, and he is going to leave feeling like king of the world, because he has just had this time and energy and attention from the most beautiful woman on the planet, aka you. And that's something I really need you to understand. You see, sometimes men get on these dating apps just to fuel their ego, just to have a recharge and reset from the feminine energy that they deeply desire in order to go and achieve their own dreams. So I don't want to see any of you sat there giggling at your phone, chit-chatting with a loser who hasn't booked a date, who hasn't got a date in the diary. Texting is for logistics. What time are we meeting? What time are you picking me up? What time is the Uber going to be here? And then zip it. Because I promise you, you are going to feel so drained after that interaction if he does turn out to be a deadbeat loser. Your currency and your feminine energy is also just simply in the knowing of this. Everything that we've covered today on this episode, that is your currency. Now you can look at the world being aware of what is actually going on. Now I trust that you will be confident to set your standards and keep your standards high and know what you are actually bringing to the table is greater than what meets the human eye. Knowing this actually dissipates all of the fear that you have around a man ever cheating on you, not being loyal to you, a man leaving you. Everything, all of his success is connected to you. Without you, his success would plummet. And I promise you, men know this, but a lot of them take advantage of the fact that women can't see their own inherent power. So that is a wrap for today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, then you are going to love all of the other episodes on my channel. So obviously, be sure to go and check those out. So I will either see you over at my other episodes, or I will just see you next time. I love you. Bye.